Hello guys, and welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we're doing something very different and a concept that a lot of other content creators do. We are doing a Q&A style video today. I have gotten some of my family members, friends and a bunch of other people to send me some questions in to answer for you guys, and this will be a rather chilled sort of video. However, the editing is non-existent, as like this video and all the other videos on my channel, all of them are unedited. So I have got all the questions on my phone. This video will be slightly longer. You can almost call this a mini podcast, except it's just me. Josh isn't here as the additional person. But this video, you can expect it to be around 20 or 30 minutes long, so you can have this with your lunch or just enjoy it as you're sitting on a train or a bus or whatever. Enjoy it at your own expense. So, before we get into the video today, please like and subscribe. We are 85 subscribers. We are 15 away from hitting the goal that I want to achieve by the end of the year, which is 100 subscribers. So please help out the channel, subscribe if you're new. I had a look at the most recent statistics of my Euro 2024 prediction video, which I'll put up the top of the screen. 99.5% of the people who watched it were not subscribed, and that's a pretty big number, because of the 1.4 thousand of you that viewed the video. If all of you that had watched this video and that video had have subscribed, I would have been on 1.4k subscribers at this point in time. So please do subscribe if you do watch my videos. It does really help support the channel. Anyway, let's get into this Q&A style video. So the first question that I have on my list is, how is life going? Pretty broad question, but I'd say life in general, pretty good. Obviously university is taking up the majority, obviously with dissertations. Over the last week I had 4 essays that I had due in for last Monday and for this Monday. I managed to get 2 of them done for last week, and I am writing one this week that's due in on Monday. But university and life in general is good. Life externally is also good. Some big changes coming up in the next couple months. So in the next few months, sort of maybe June, July sort of time, this background might be a little bit different. Might be a bit of a change to this background. But yeah, a lot of big changes coming up. And of course, obviously, I finish university this year. I graduate in October 2024. So that's another big exciting step for me. What got me into making YouTube videos? I mean, I've always wanted to have my own channel. It's actually a pretty exciting thing that I've always wanted to do. Maybe not as like a full-time thing, because I know it's very hard to make a living out of YouTube. Obviously there are some lucky people out there, you know, the Sidemen as a great example. But you have to get lucky with YouTube. Like, it's a very specific market. It's harder to get views than, say, on TikTok or on Instagram, etc. But I would have to say the Sidemen got me into making YouTube, just because I really love their content, and I thought, why don't I give it a go? I mean, I was making TikTok videos before then. One of my TikTok videos got 1.5 million views. And it got me to the followers that I am currently at. I'm on around 14,000 followers on TikTok, even though I know half of them are probably bots. So, but that's still around 7,000 people that follow me on there. So, and also I guess with my sort of good what I've been told, my natural ability on camera, and my good I should be like a good public speaker with my poetry and all sorts. It might be a good potential thing to do if I want to maybe do a hobby, maybe like advocating my poetry, reading poems aloud, etc., taking things to a different level, going down different paths, etc. It'd be an interesting field, but let's see where this takes me. I don't know how many subscribers I'll get to by the end of everything. Let's just see. How many pets have I had? Well, I'm only 20, so obviously I still have a long way to go. However, I'm not a pet person. Like, I don't like, because of the autism and my sensory issues, I don't really like hairy fur and etc. things like that. However, in my life, I've had 2 pets, and they were both dogs. I had 2 black Labradors. One of them when I was very, very young, probably when I was around 4 or 5 years old. I had a black Labrador called Dukey, or Duke. He was very, very nice. The only sad thing is he died on Christmas Eve, so we weren't able to give him his presents. But thing is though, I think he had a stroke the night before. But that's a really, really sad topic to go into. And then my other dog, another black Labrador, Monty, who I remember getting when I was 7. And I think he was 13 when he died, I believe, 12 or 13 when he died. He died Christmas last year. So we sort of had a bit of bad luck with pets dying around Christmas, which is a bit of a sad thing. But in my life, I've only had 2 pets. I probably won't own a dog myself, just because I have sort of like a fear of animals, a fear of dogs. But also, obviously, the sensory element comes into it, and also they're quite difficult to train. Like, you have to put a lot of effort into training dogs, and I just don't think I have the capabilities, for that. When did you meet your current friends? So I met my current friends, well, at my a private school, an all boys school, a learning difficulty school called Morehouse School in Frensham. If any of you have heard of that, then you'll know that it is, as I said, an all-boys school, private education, but it's a school specifically for people with specific learning difficulties, so autism, ADHD, dyslexia, dyscalculia, all of those different things. And they basically just, I don't know how they do it, but they basically allow you to find yourself in education and give you the best education that you can get. And usually most of the pupils that come to Morehouse have come from schools that either didn't treat them well enough, didn't give them the support that they needed. Some pupils were bullied at their old schools for being different. That's for me personally as well. And they just give you the confidence to become who you are, and you find that instead of thinking that your learning difficulties are something to be afraid of, something to sort of look down upon, they give you the skills to sort of work alongside with your autism or your learning difficulties, whatever you have, and use it, and use the strength that it gives you to forge your own career path after you leave Morehouse. And I have to thank Morehouse so much, because I was a wreck before I started. My family will know this because they've seen me go through it, but I was an emotional wreck, and I've completely changed now. I passed all of my exams, I passed all of my A-levels, and now I'm doing a degree at university, which I thought I'd probably never be able to do. But apart from that, academically I've always been okay. But the main thing for me was the making friends, like being chatty with people, sort of like the confidence side of things. And getting back to it, when did I meet my current friends? All of my friends that I now have are from Morehouse. My friendship group is from Morehouse, and it's just because we all have similar things, and we just glue together so well. And a big shout out to Josh, who I imagine will be watching this video. Best friend, and I'm happy to call him a brother as well. Just like have him next to me as well. It's I'm really, really grateful for all of my friends, because I doubt I would be near enough where I would be without the support of my friends as well. So I'm really, really grateful for that. So, how did the podcast start? Well, again, Morehouse, our sort of one of our tasks for A levels, like they gave us like these study skills, these life skills sort of challenges that we had to complete over a couple of weeks. And one of them was like a communication sort of video life skill type thing, which is working with others. So I decided, and I approached a PE teacher who was working there at the time. I can't remember his name, but I said I wanted to do a podcast because it was something I've always wanted to do after listening to the Peter Crouch podcast on Spotify and other podcasts. It's just basically sitting and chatting to camera and having a conversation about a topic that you enjoy, which I thought was really good. So me and him decided to create a Formula One podcast called, I think it was the Pit Stop Podcast or something like that. And it fell to pieces really. Like the camera broke halfway through, so it didn't even record half of what we were doing. But we had a good setup. We had couches and sofas and everything, and it was a really good thing. But I think I've always wanted to do my own podcast. Maybe when I have my own room potentially, and maybe when I get older. Me and Josh still want to do this podcasting seriously. We still want to continue it even after we've graduated. We've already discussed this, and that's why I started my podcast on YouTube. If I knew how to do it on Spotify, I would do it on Spotify. But at the moment, I do think YouTube is a good enough platform, because then you can see our faces and interact with us with the comments, etc. But also, it's a great way to grow your audience as well, because then when you move off over to another platform, you've got people who will follow you onto that platform and support you over there as well. But there will be more podcast episodes coming in the future, I hope. I'm meeting up with Josh hopefully over Easter. I don't know if we'll be doing a podcast then, but we'll have to see. I'm also hoping to bring some guests onto the podcast hopefully after I graduate. I've already got a few things in the works that I want to try and organise and try and do, and to get some new people on, because I think that will be good for you guys, a fresh sort of guest every now and again, and it will be good for me as well to sort of interact with different people and get their opinions on as well. Because it's cool that me and Josh do it together, we work really well together, but also I do think having another opinion coming in is also a good thing to have on a podcast like that. Would I want Daniel Ricciardo back at Red Bull? Moving on swiftly to a different genre. Would I want Daniel Ricciardo back at Red Bull? I mean, at this current stage, probably not, because I love Daniel Ricciardo to pieces. He's a very, very good driver, very, very smiley guy. But would I want him back at Red Bull? Bearing in mind Max Verstappen is so dominant at the moment. Excuse the sound on the side of my face. But he's so dominant at the minute. I think that any teammate that is alongside Verstappen, I just think that it's not a really fair sort of thing. However, with the news going around at the moment, with Hamilton moving to Ferrari next year, Toto Wolff has been speculating in the media that a Verstappen move to Mercedes could potentially be on the cards, which I'm dreading happens, because it means I'll have to support Verstappen at the team I most hate, which I wouldn't want to do. But it's interesting. Yes, I would want Daniel Ricciardo back at Red Bull, but maybe if Verstappen does move, maybe bring Ricciardo in to replace Verstappen if he moves, because then I think Ricciardo and Perez as a team might work better than Max and Ricciardo as because Max and Ricciardo have had their teammate sort of era. I think it was 2018, 2019 they were in the car together. And obviously, as we know, that didn't really work out particularly. We all know the Baku incident when they collided into each other. If you could have dinner with 3 people, 1 fictional, 1 living, and 1 dead, who would they be and why? This is a very interesting question. I asked this question to my brother last night, and we both had very interesting answers, and I'm probably going to stick with the answer. So 1 fictional character. So this is a book or a movie. Obviously, TV shows are real people just playing certain characters. So one fictional character. So from a book, I'd probably choose Harry Potter. Because I just want to learn some. Because I'm a big Harry Potter fan, but also I want to learn all the spells and ride a broomstick. Maybe play some Quidditch as well. It'd be fun, and also just be interesting to sort of learn about like the spells and the magic and stuff. One living person, maybe controversial, but I'd quite like to invite Jeremy Clarkson. Being a massive Top Gear fan. There obviously Clarkson is probably the more obnoxious out of the three, but it would be nice to just have a nice chat about cars with him and things like that. And then one dead. There is a very obvious answer here, but I'm going to remove Mum out of the equation for this one. I think one dead. I don't know. I'd like to get Alan Turing. Either Turing or Einstein, I think, but just because it'd be interesting to just talk with them about how they even came up with those, especially with Alan Turing, how they came up with that machine to crack the Enigma code. It'd just be fascinating to see. So yeah, one fictional Harry Potter, living Clarkson, dead Alan Turing. Those are the three people that I would invite to dinner. Thank you for your question. If you were on death row, what would your final meal be, and what crime would you have committed? Oh, bit of a darker one, this one. If I were on death row, my final meal, a bit of a weird one, but I'd probably have fish pie, because my mum used to make it for me when I was younger, and it still is my favourite meal of all time. So I think I want to have one of my favourite meals of all time to savour before I get my head blocked off and go to death row. But the crime that I'd commit, I don't know, because I mean I had a funny conversation about this as well yesterday. My friends seem to think that I would commit the crime of arson. Obviously arson being setting fire to things. And to be honest, now I do see the meaning, because I'm sorry if you I'm sorry, Jay. I'm sorry about this, but like it would probably be arson, because I'd want to set fire to Heath End School, just because of the way it treated me when I was there. Yes, I know it's a building, and it was the people who made it hell there, but I just think to get revenge on it, I think that is something I would do, to be fair. And then I'd be sentenced to death row because of arson. I would try and get out of it, of course, and basically say that my mates threw a wild party and we just set things on fire and the building accidentally got set on fire. But I think that is a crime I'd commit. Anyway, what do you think is the most important quality in a best friend? Oh, now this question is actually really relevant to a current situation, but I probably have to say, because I care a lot about my friends, I care a lot about them, I put a lot of effort into the friendships and stuff like that. So I think I've got two things. One of them is loyalty and care. Like you've got a like a relationship. Friendships have got to go both ways. You both got care about each other a lot, and also loyal to each other. Like if for example, let's just say Josh was in a bad state, I would back him up in any situation, and I imagine he would do the same for me. And then the other thing with that is trust, because as a best friend and as a friend, I would expect you to keep certain things on the low, and I trust you with a lot of things. And obviously, again, like in relationships, trust goes a long way. Those are my two qualities in a best friend. But also just if they're just a good laugh as well, because they've got to bounce off my jokes and I've got to bounce off their jokes, and just a good fun person, But trust and loyalty are my two main things. But yeah. What's my dream car? Now that's a difficult question, because me being a petrol head, I have loads of dream cars, but I can only have one. Let's split it into two sections. We'll do realistic dream car, and then if money was no object, what would be my dream car? So I've always wanted one, even though 6'5" of me probably wouldn't be able to fit in it. I've always wanted a really old 1960s Mini, just because it would be just really, really funny to have one. Yes, they're probably really expensive, like because they're classic cars and insurance and whatnot. But I've always wanted to own one. It'd be a bit of a fit, it'd be a bit tight to get in them. But it'd just be a really funny run around, and I've always wanted to own one. First, I have to learn to drive, obviously, but it would just be really, really fun to drive around in. But then, if money was no object, my dream car, bit boring, I know, because there would be other options, but it would probably be the Porsche 918 Spider, £890,000, if you want to go and buy one. But obviously, it's one of the hybrid hypercars, alongside the McLaren P1 and the Ferrari LaFerrari. But I just think it makes an incredible sound. I've seen one in real life at Goodwood. It was an incredible car, and that would be my dream car if money was no object. But realistically, I'd probably want a classic Mini, even a modern Mini. I just really want to own a Mini for some reason. Where would you like to be in life in 5 years' time? So in 5 years, I'll be, 25. Okay, so old. Well, not old, but you know what I mean. 25 years old. I don't know, probably working, even though the fact of the thought of getting a job scares me a little bit, just because obviously all my life I've known education, and that's just been the education bubble is a safe bubble. You go to your lessons, you are taught the stuff, you go home, do the homework, do the essays, the exams, etc., and then you get the results back, you go in, get taught, etc. However, obviously work, it's a bit like school, but obviously you've got grown-ups telling you what to do, as well as you're getting paid for it as well. But also the interview process scares me. The actual I don't know. It's a lot. It's a really. I'm really anxious about it, honestly. Because I don't really know what's around the corner, and it could take me, I don't know, 3 years to find a good job, or I don't know. But I've got my priorities set straight. Like in 5 years, time, I hope to be driving, like properly. Obviously, hopefully, then this background will be different. I'm hoping to get a setup for here, so like a proper microphone, an actual camera. Like I want to do this properly. I would have learnt. I will hopefully have learnt to have edited by then, so these YouTube videos can be better quality, and maybe produce better videos for you guys. Because I've also wanted to hop on doing gaming videos as well, like recording my gameplay, narrating over the top of it, and doing gaming videos like that as well, as I think they might go down well as well. But also, and I know kind of cringe, and I imagine people who watch this video will laugh to themselves after I've said this, but I'd really like to be in a relationship in 5 years as well, because after being single for, well, obviously you're obviously single when you're born, but after being single for quite a long time, I'd quite like to be in a relationship in 5 years, I hope. I just have to be a bit more confident, I think, and don't think to myself, I'm socially awkward, I'm not going to be able to get anyone because nobody will like the personality that I am. I've got to get out of that mindset. Next question's interesting. How did my autism diagnosis go? Now, I don't really, truthfully, I don't actually know a lot about it. I've only know what my parents have told me. I think I was diagnosed around the age of 7. I don't know specifically. But obviously, because I was probably too young to understand the concept of what autism was back then, even though I was intelligent and doing really, really well in school, etc. I don't think I was young enough or old enough, to understand what autism was. All I do know is that obviously I had extra help, like I had a teaching assistant in junior school. I remember trying to escape school. Obviously now I know it was obviously the build up of anxiety, but at the time I just got overly stressed and I just tried to escape school by climbing over trying to climb over the fence. Obviously didn't really work, got caught, etc. But it was a difficult path because obviously I didn't really know what was going on at the time. And obviously that leads into the second question on this list, which is what was it like pre-autism? As I said, a difficult road because obviously at the time you don't know what's wrong with you. You just think that you're different to everybody else. You don't know that it's actually a specific thing that makes you different, like a genetic disorder not a genetic disorder, a brain, I don't really know a cognitive disorder. That makes you different to everyone. Your brain is wired differently, so you struggle with different things. You don't know it at the time, and I don't know. But I don't know. I was the main fact is I was probably too young to understand what it was, as I said. So I don't really have too much to tell really about it. But life after my diagnosis of autism, obviously at first was all right. Obviously went to Heath End, but then after, as I said, when I went to Morehouse, everything changed and that was perfect. Most embarrassing moment in my life. I don't really want to know. There are some embarrassing moments in my life. Obviously some I won't mention. I think trying to not make it sound really personal, like really like deep and like all that sort of thing. I'll mention one that was just embarrassing in terms of like an in public thing. I think the most embarrassing moment, and I'm sorry about this, family who are watching, but it was when I went to Pizza Express once for my birthday. It was in Basingstoke, and we went to Pizza Express, and obviously, as I said, it was my birthday, and my mum and my dad got the waiter over, and they sung "Happy Birthday" to me in public. And obviously, me being an awkward person, like a socially anxiety awkward person anyway, I was really embarrassed and I hated it. Sorry about that, but I hated it. I felt really embarrassed, and I didn't really like that at all particularly. I think it was more awkward than embarrassing, but I'll count that as my embarrassing moment. There are others, but if any of my friends want to know actual embarrassing moments, then do message me and I will tell you actual embarrassing moments. My favourite bar of chocolate. Favourite bar of chocolate, straight up, is the Double Decker. If any of you haven't heard of the Double Decker, any Americans watching haven't heard of the Double Decker, it's essentially chocolate around the outside, like a chocolate bar, and then it's got sort of biscuity bits at the top, and then nougat at the bottom, sort of like a chewy, sort of caramelly type substance. I don't exactly know what it's made of, but it's just a very, very good bar of chocolate. I think the closest equivalent is either Mars or Boost. Those are both extremely nice bars of chocolate. Thoughts on Ollie Bearman? This is another Formula 1 driver. Ollie Bearman is a Formula 2 driver, but he replaced Carlos Sainz at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, not last weekend, but the weekend before. And he was actually really, really good. Bearing in mind he's only 18 years of age. I think he was ahead of Leclerc in qualifying at one point. He's showing immense talent, and if he isn't in a Ferrari in the next, or isn't even in a Formula 1 team, if not Ferrari, in the next couple years, that's a waste of talent, I have to say. Maybe even if Verstappen does move to Mercedes to replace Hamilton, get Ollie Bearman in a Red Bull. I think if Ollie Bearman goes in a Red Bull, very strong statement here, but if Ollie Bearman does get in a Red Bull, I do think he could win a world championship in maybe his second season, just because he'll have the car underneath him, and obviously he has the the technical engineers and the technical chiefs. I just think he would do really, really well in a Red Bull car. Just get him in an F1 car as quickly as possible. My favourite film. So, favourite film, I probably have to go... Well, I count it as a film series, but my favourite film of all time is Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. I'm a Transformers fan, a Fast and Furious fan, but my favourite film series is a series that I'm currently watching through, and I'm not a massive horror fan, but I'm quite enjoying the Halloween series, the Michael Myers film series. I'm currently on number 6, which is, I think is 1990s, I believe, and the 1990s film. I'm currently making my way through, but I've really, really enjoyed that movie series. And as again, not a massive horror fan, but it's something that I really, really enjoy. Film or TV show that I hate, but everyone else seems to like. I know this answer already. This may get a bit of controversy in the comments, so do let me know if this is your favourite TV show. But a show that I really, really hate that everyone else seems to like, I'm sorry, but it's Friends. Like, I don't see the concept of it at all. Like, it has a really jingly theme tune, but I just don't like it. And then the other one is The Big Bang Theory with the fake laughter over the top of it. I understand it's intellectual comedy. I don't like it. I mean, I got roasted at my old school for not liking Friends and The Big Bang Theory. It's just something not for me. Also, I do apologise about the sun. I hope it's all okay on camera. Really famous movie that you've never seen. So really famous movie obviously means like the highest that you can get on IMDb, which is that movie rating channel. Obviously there's The Godfather, which is up there. The Shawshank Redemption I've seen. So probably a famous movie that I've never seen is probably Oppenheimer, because obviously that did really well. And probably, The Godfather. I've never seen those two movies. And Oppenheimer I want to see, because obviously as a historian I really want to sort of see the recreation of it and see how they did it. And apparently, and also Robert Downey Jr. is in it as well, so I really want to go and see it for that as well. Favourite band? Well, as a modern person, grew up in the 21st century, I don't have a favourite band as such. Again, I'll split it into two. My favourite band, the band that I have the most amount of songs on my playlist is probably Coldplay, because I have Paradise, Adventure of a Lifetime and Higher Power. But my favourite artist is not KSI, but my favourite artist is probably Ed Sheeran, just because I like a great number and great variety of his songs, and he's been around for a while, so and as well he's collaborated with a bunch of different artists. Do I have a bucket list? I guess so. I mean, I'm not like, I don't like travelling, because I do like travelling, but I've never been on planes before. So my bucket list would probably be conquering my fear of flying, because I want to go on holiday to Italy. It's one of the places I really, really want to go to. Because obviously the car culture, the art culture, the food is amazing over there. I really want to go on holiday to Italy one day and as well conquer my fear of flying. Obviously, bucket lists. I also want to do a track day, go to a Formula 1 race, like in person. I've got lots of things like that. Enter one of my poems into a national competition. And speaking of that, quick sidetrack, I'm hoping to start a poetry series on here. So if that's something that you think would be good, put it in the comments down below. Favourite food, as I discussed before. I'm going to quick fire now. We're up to recording for 30 minutes already. Favourite food, as I said, is probably fish pie, but individual food, ice cream, probably. Favourite individual food. Plan for next year. Well, obviously, my plan for next year, I would have graduated then. So I want to do an online course in motoring journalism, as that's the job I want to go into. I also want to learn, as I said, learn how to edit. Also do an online cooking course as well, so I can learn how to cook. So people don't have to cook for me for the rest of my life. I can learn to cook myself. Any special videos coming up? Well, this, I would say, is one of those special videos. I'm doing a Q&A. If I can hit 100 subscribers, I will do a 100 subscriber special, but do give me ideas in the comments of what you want to see for a 100 subscriber special. Bearing in mind, obviously, the reaches of what I can do. Bearing in mind, I record. My camera is from my laptop. The microphone is from my laptop, so I only have those sort of things. So it can't be a massive thing. I could potentially do like a vlog and start vlogging and do like real life stuff potentially, but we'll have to see. If you could have chosen a Christian name at birth, what would I have chosen? So if I could have chosen my own name at birth, I don't know, because I quite like Thomas, honestly. One of my friends will get a big thing from this. I quite like the name Josh as well. Josh is a very good name. Charlie also is a good name, because if I ever had kids, I would name the boy Charlie. Charlie's also a good name. Did I find university as good as I thought it was going to be? Well, because Farnborough Uni, UCF, isn't technically a proper university. Like, there isn't like flat blocks where people stay over and like actual beds and accommodation, stuff like that. It's just an academic university. I don't think I still really enjoyed it. Like, it was the place I only wanted to go because it's close to home as well. And I don't like staying over places. I just find it really anxious and like anxiety filled and everything. But university is great. I enjoy my lectures. I enjoy my lecturers as well. They're really good and supportive. Especially after Mum died, they were really supportive. They gave me time to sort of settle in at my own pace as well. And especially last year, they gave me, I think it was like a week before the anniversary, I was allowed to do lectures at home because I just wasn't concentrating at uni. Sorry if my voice is getting a bit hoarse now as well. Which F1 team are best placed to challenge Red Bull this season? Honestly, none. Not as a biased Red Bull fan, but I just think, and I do agree with people, it is getting a bit ridiculous now. The fact that Red Bull are... Hang on. The fact that Red Bull are as far ahead as they are in the competition, it's not fair. F1 is meant to be a competitive sport. It's not a competitive sport. So to answer your question, no team. I think the closest team is probably McLaren at the moment, and potentially Aston Martin as well. But apart from that, there isn't really. Who will win the Premier League title? I don't want to say Manchester City, but they always find a way to claw back points. However, it is really close this year. Liverpool, Arsenal and City are really close to each other. I would love Arsenal to win because they're different from Liverpool and Manchester City. But it is probably going to be Manchester City. They always find a way to do it. If Arsenal win the league, I will do the next YouTube video after the season's finished with my shirt off. There you go. There's a bet for you. If Arsenal win the league, I will do a YouTube video with my shirt off. That's how confident I am Arsenal won't win the Premier League this season. If you could, would you rather spend a day with your younger self or your older self? Probably my younger self, because obviously my younger self went through a lot, and I can sort of potentially tell him things that he will come up against as he grows up, like the Heath End stuff, and maybe I could tell him that potentially to tell his parents earlier that he was struggling, and maybe I get pulled out quicker, potentially. Obviously, I don't blame them for putting me out at the time, but obviously they were looking at other schools, and I'm happy for when they did. I think they did move me at the right time, to be fair. If they'd have left me in for the whole year, I don't think I would have survived. Would you rather relive your best day over again, or go back and stop your worst one from happening? The best day I've ever had in my life was going to Dunsfold and being taken around in a Lamborghini Huracan Evo. That was amazing for my 16th birthday. It was brilliant. However, to stop the worst day from happening, the worst day would probably be me being beaten up outside of Heath End. That was horrendous. I'd probably go back and stop that from happening, honestly. Obviously, you might think, but Tom, isn't your mum dying the worst day possible? Yes, I agree, but obviously that's not me, like my worst day. That was mum's worst day, obviously, because she was no longer here with us. But my worst day from happening would probably be that Heath End. I'd probably have walked another way, or have told them a bit, like left after leave lesson early or something like that, or asked mum to sort of park a bit closer. I'd probably go back and stop it from happening. Would you work somewhere you hate but make a lot of money, or work somewhere that you love and enjoy but hardly make any money? So this is difficult, because obviously you want to have a sustainable living and have good income, etc. But working somewhere it's like saying, would you rather work at the sewers and get £1 million a year, or work for Microsoft but earn £100 a year? It's like, well, not that scale, but I'd probably work somewhere I love but for not much money, because then you're enjoying the job that you do, and I think that's the most important thing. If you're enthusiastic about the thing that you do, then it won't, obviously, because you're doing it every day, there will be some boring elements saying, right, yeah, I've got to do another car article today, oh yeah, another car article today. But because you're interested in it, like if I worked at Top Gear magazine or any car magazine, I probably would not get bored, because I'm writing about things that I enjoy, and I just think that's the best thing. So I'd probably work at somewhere I love with not much money. If I could go to any place in the world, where would I want to go to? I mean, earlier I said I wanted to go to Italy. However, I will take that out of the equation. If heat wasn't a thing and I wouldn't sweat myself to death, I'd probably go to Dubai, because of the car and stuff there, but also Monaco because of the heritage and stuff there, and I'd love to go and watch the Monaco Grand Prix live as well. Those are the two places I want to go to. Any secret talents? I'm not doing them on this video, but I'm quite good at accents and I'm quite good at impressions. Maybe for my 100 subscriber special, maybe. If you want me to do some accents and impressions, get me to 100 subscribers. That'll be my subscriber special. There you go. But yeah, secret talents, poetry, and that is the accents and impressions is probably my strongest things. Which poem written by someone else do I wish I had written? See, this is interesting, because obviously if you think about poetry, obviously each poet is all individualistic. Like, they may have similar ideas, similar concepts, similar style of poetry, but everyone's ideas are different. Like, the poems that I write may be similar to what someone else has written, but the ideas and the influence and the inspiration will all be different. But I do think a poem that I wish I had written, that was written by someone else, I don't know, probably London by William Blake. That's a great poem. Eat Me by Patience Agbabi. That was also a good poem as well. Really like that poem. But yeah, that's the poem that I would say. What's one thing you would say to your younger self? Say I love you more to your family, because I struggle to do that anyway. It's just a weird thing that I have. Show more physical affection towards your mum specifically. I know it makes me sound bad, like I didn't love my mum or anything, but I did. But the one thing I regret still is not saying I love you enough. Not those sorts of things. Even though they say that when people pass away, you should never have any regrets. I still have regrets. I should have gone to the hospice where she was and seen her before she died and stuff. I still have those regrets. One thing I'd say to my younger self is just is just because little bit deep, but I have like injured myself in the past. Not YouTube don't do anything to this video, but I have done stuff in the past to myself when I was really, really down in the gutter. And I just say to myself, just look after myself, talk to people, because mental health is not a joke. You should talk to people about it, however bad you feel, even if it's to your dog. Just talk to someone about it, and you feel much, much better. I felt much better afterwards, like crying into people's arms. It was a horrible, horrible time. But then it was the period of I was going through counselling. I was opening up about everything, and I was just in a mess. If I was locked in a room with everyone I've ever met, who would I look for first? Obviously, again, obvious answer is Mum, because I could just talk to her for hours and catch up with her and everything about what's been going on in my life. She's been, it's coming up to the 2-year anniversary of her passing, so it's already been 2 years, which doesn't seem like a long time. But then cancer is a sick joke, and I hate it. Taken too soon. But I do think if I was in a locked room with everyone I've ever met, it would probably be Mum and probably be Josh, because those two are the most important people in my life, and Dad as well. But they are the most important people in my life, and I love them all to pieces. There are 4 questions left. We're coming to the end of the video now. Are EVs the long-term future of motoring? Now, EVs obviously stands for electric vehicles. EVs the future of motoring? No, I don't think they are, because I think it will be too difficult to get fast charging points, because even now the fast charging points for cars take 40 minutes to charge up, and in a world of fast growing paces and people trying to get to work and stuff, it just won't work. I see hydrogen power being the next thing, because hydrogen power, you may have to try and work out a water resistant sort of exterior for the cells inside the car, and obviously hydrogen mixing with oxygen, it creates water, so you're putting water into the atmosphere, which means you get more rain as a byproduct, I admit. But I don't think fully electric cars are the future. I do think people will get it into their heads that hydrogen power is the way, but also, as Honda has been experimenting with, but also hybrid energy I do think is better. We cannot live without petrol. That may be just my dinosaur instincts of petrol headism, but you need petrol, because petrol is just a quicker way. And also with hybrids, when you're not using the electric motor, the petrol engine is charging the electric motor. Maybe not as quickly as actual charging points, but it's still charging the battery when you're not using it. Will Dorking Wanderers survive the National League? No. I'm sorry, but no. They've done really, really well to get to the National League, but they will either be like Everton in the Premier League, where they somehow just scrape the relegation battle. Because the National League, after this video, go and have a look at the National League table. It is extremely close. Like I think the point difference between like 9th and bottom is like 4 points or something. It's mental. But I do think, because Dorking Wanderers' last couple games are against people who are top of the division, I don't see them staying up, but I do think them getting relegated will actually do them a world of good, because they need to get confidence with winning games again, and I just think it will be better for them. And final question, which YouTuber would I most like to collaborate with if I get to that point? I mean, my long dream, like my biggest dream, is to meet the Sidemen. I've always wanted to meet the Sidemen, even though it is impossible and probably will never happen. However, my dream is to either be in a Sidemen video, like a Sidemen spending video in London, or just meet them, collaborate with them, and stuff like that. But that is like the dream collaboration for me. I've always wanted to as I said, always wanted to meet one of them. Ethan Bazinga has been a massive inspiration for me with his journey of what happened to him as well. Obviously, I love Zerka. KSI is a music inspiration, boxing talent as well, even though he lost to Tommy Fury. But yeah, that is where I will wrap up my Q&A video. A very, very long Q&A video. It's almost 50 minutes long, but I hope you enjoy. Please like and subscribe. Comment down below which question that you enjoyed the most, and also some of your answers to those questions. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.